London, how we doing? We all right? All right. Yeah, my name is Ben Bailey-Smith. I'm an artist born and bred in West London. But, you know, before I got into show business, I spent 10 years as a youth worker, working in youth clubs in Edgware Road, in Paddington, in Queen's Park, Maida Vale, set up my own youth center for the children of refugees and asylum seekers in Queen's Park. So I had quite a profound shift from working in my community, working with local people and working with people from overseas, living beneath the poverty line, into show business. Quite a big shift, to be honest. I've always kept one eye on the community that I came from. And last year, there was a huge tragedy, and I have to say a travesty, that occurred right in the center of my old stomping grounds, essentially, in the fire that engulfed the Grenfell Tower, causing multiple fatalities. Fascinatingly, out of that fire, a phoenix arose in the shape of Justice for Grenfell, which is a community-led, non-profit organization fighting for justice in an area where no one else was willing to go. It's a tough fight. It's an incredible fight. It's one that I've been privileged enough to see up close. And tonight I want to share with you some of the stories from right within that organization. So yeah, what we have for you is something unique, a real piece of insight, I would say. And please now welcome to the stage the youngest member of the Justice for Grenfell team with a whole new approach to fighting for justice. It's Tasha Brade. Hey, yeah. Tasha.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. Now you're born and bred in Ladbroke Grove, West Londoner. It's fascinating to meet you and talk with you before this, because I guess I assumed before I met you, you were somebody who'd grown up fighting injustices, you're involved in charities left, right, and center, and then Grenfell arrived, and you're like, well, it's on my doorstep, I'm involved. But actually, your story is really different. How did you get involved?
Yeah, my story is quite different. I have no experience in this whatsoever. I went down in the morning with my boyfriend and kind of saw what was going on, and then kind of kicked into action, started trying to compile a list of names and addresses of people who could give spare rooms. CNN put my number up on their on their Twitter page, so I had loads of incoming rooms flooding in, and that was my first kind of. That was how I tried to help initially. After that, I kind of helped in donation centers for a little while, and then all of a sudden, this darkness hit me. And it was sadness, a sadness I'd never felt before, and an anger that I'd never experienced before either. So I had this kind of darkness for about 3 to 4 months, and it was just PTSD, and it was really bad. And I mean, it's nothing what the bereaved and survivors have been through. But it was my own experience, and I knew I needed to find a way to deal with that. So I saw a leaflet. Justice for Grenfell were organising a coach to go up to Manchester to the protest at the Tory party conference. And I was like, right, I'm going to go with them. So I jumped on the coach, went up to Manchester, and with all the slogans and all the chants, I was like, this is where I need to be. I need to be doing something actively. So
you did have a job at this stage?
Yeah, I had 2 jobs at this stage. So I was working hard alongside that. And then we got back to London, and I've never felt so empowered and like, okay, there's a change that can be made here. So I kind of sent an email to Justice for Grenfell, like, will you have me, please? And yeah, the rest is kind of history.
Yeah. And now, when I first met you, you were multitasking, you were on the phone, you were watching the inquiry, you know, sending messages back and forth, emails and whatnot. and I met your two colleagues, and I thought, with no disrespect to them whatsoever, they've got a young gun for hire here who maybe has a slightly different approach. Are you getting involved on the social media side? Are you, how are you engaging young people in this?
That's kind of my thing. My thing is social media. So I set up an Instagram account, a Twitter account. They already had, but tried to up those followers, reach out on Facebook. Kind of the things that I would do in my daily life anyway to reach out to people, but just use them as platforms to kind of try to reach a lot more people in a quicker amount of time. So those are kind of the things that I'm good at. I'm good at Instagram. I'm on it all the time. So I'm happy to be doing those kind of things. And it's really interesting engaging with people who want to help over those kind of platforms.
When I was, I mean, I've been to, growing up same place as you, I've been to Carnival from a fetus. I've seen photos of me in my mum's belly at Carnival, which is, you know, it always brings a smile. But last year, as much fun as I had, it was so overwhelming. I mean, just those moments of remembrance, I found overpowering. And I mean, the world knows how many people we get at Carnival. It's a lot of people. And to feel that emotion all in one place, it was a profound moment for me. What is it, do you think, is uniting us, not just Londoners, but across the UK? I mean, you saw how the first few days went in terms of the attention that came from everywhere in the UK, all over the world. What is it about this that is striking a chord?
Well, I think with Grenfell, it's so different. I mean, there were people, hundreds of people standing outside the tower that night. Thousands of people can see the tower from their windows, and millions of people were watching from home. And as the story progresses, as we find out all of these safety flaws that the council and the government knew about, I think that angers people and that unites people in a way. This is the biggest social injustice of my lifetime in my home town. You know, 72 people minimum died, and this is the biggest loss of life since World War II on British soil, and it's not being treated like that. And I think that says something about the way that the government and nationally and locally are dealing with it, but also the support that we have nationwide, worldwide, is incredible. So people do recognize that this should never have happened, and it could have been prevented at so many stages. So I think in a way that unites everyone. Everyone knows that this is just, it's an awful thing, and it didn't have to happen. And those children, those women, and those men did not have to lose their lives.
Yeah, I've got a good 10 years of age on you, and I think my disaster, if you like, as a child was Hillsborough in '89, and it blows my mind that it's only a couple of years ago that we're really getting into finding justice for the 96 people that lost their lives at Hillsborough. What fascinates me about Grenfell is that our access to information is so much more complete now that there's no hiding place, and the inquiry's already started. What hopes do you have that those responsible will be found to be responsible?
I think at the moment, all you can have really is hope and faith that it will happen. I think that, I mean, our government is very good at hiding things and covering things up, but with this access to information that we all have, that we can all share at the split second, I think we're in a different circumstance to Hillsborough, as it were, because of the fact that we can reach out, we can do stuff like this, we can talk to people, we can say, get involved, talk to each other about what happened at Grenfell. And I also think that with I really believe that what will keep this fight for justice going, and what is really important, is I really believe they mess with the wrong community. I really do. From the bottom of my heart, I know that the Ladbroke Grove, Latimer Road community, its history is incredible, and we're not going to let this go. This has happened, and most of us saw it happen, and we've been following the story ever since, and we are angry, and we're not going to stop. And I think that's all we can do.
Listen, only a fool would mess with West London. Ladies and gentlemen, the future of justice for Grenfell, Tasha Brade.